Win, lose, draw.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Win, Lose, Draw podcast. I'm Robbie, and we've got Jake,
Hi, guys.
and we've got Simon.
Hello, guys.
Are we all good?
Yeah, not bad. How
Yeah,
about yourself?
we're okay.
Yeah, lovely. Enjoying the football being back?
Of
Yeah,
course.
it's
Good.
mixed emotions, I'd say. Mixed emotions.
yeah.
Is
How
that
about you,
as a
Robbie?
Tottenham
You
fan,
enjoying
or-
it?
Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying it being back to some extent. Not enjoying the results on most parts, but
Yeah.
it's not ideal.
Today's.
Yeah, there has been. It's been better seasons. It's
For our
been better
listeners, I'd like
years.
to clarify that Robbie is a Bournemouth fan, and they will be in the Championship next season.
That's a true clarification on all parts there.
No denying it.
Yeah. Well, I could do that thing that I think everyone had that kid at school that they'll just deny it next season. Be like, no, I always support Chelsea.
Yeah. What's wrong with supporting Chelsea?
I genuinely, there was a kid at school who supported Southampton, and he had Southampton shirts all like growing up. And the season they got relegated, he just came into school the next year with a Chelsea shirt. And was like,
Last season Chelsea won the league.
but
or
he
something.
just always said, he was like, no, I've always supported Chelsea. But
yeah,
he,
you
Just completely denied that they ever supported
but
Southampton.
he denied it so well that everyone just accepted it. Like,
you get a lot of them, though, don't you? Just that happens. I feel like Liverpool. That's this season and last season.
Yeah.
That's happened a lot. Like,
yeah, I can't
there's been
believe
people who I thought like supported Southampton, like our friend Matty. Who's he
who's
support?
suddenly a Liverpool fan.
Who's he support?
Yeah.
But then I also feel like he supports Man City as well. It's like he definitely can't support Liverpool and Man City at this moment
He
in
needs to
time.
make up his mind.
He's a lover of good football. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Just
Good
loves the
taste.
game.
He loves the game. He's Patrice Evra.
Loves this game.
I followed him on Instagram recently, and it's definitely worth it.
Oh, I've not
yeah.
done that.
I have as well. Well,
apparently-
I've been following for a long time. It gets old quickly though, so I warn you now.
Yeah, I mean, I've gathered there's a repetition. Like, he does like a Monday, and he loves a certain game. But yeah,
What
it's quite
was the
funny.
famous one when he was like slapping a chicken about?
I don't know.
Uh,
There's a lot of like ones that are questionable. Like, roll the clip.
Little country ass nigga from the east side street, give a fuck what you think about me. I've been gone for a minute now, young nigga back, better get your girlfriend away from me. They come back so strong though, hey, she going back so strong though, hey. I miss playing in the walls, miss walking in the bathrooms, now it's on the long low. I ain't tryna expose you, but girl you know you ain't loyal.
right. So for episode 1, we thought we'd do Premier League awards for the season. We've got 9 categories. We're going to go through Player of the Season, Young Player of the Season, Goalkeeper of the Season, Most Improved, and that's Player, Best Buy of the Season, Shithouse of the Season, Surprise Package, which is Team, Underperforming, again Team, and then Worst Haircuts, which this lockdown special I think could be a good one this year.
Yeah, could be good.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Right, so I think we'll kick off with number 1, Player of the Season. So we've all got 3 nominations. That's how this is going to work. We might overlap, but we're going to discuss. And the aim of this is by the end, we're going to decide on a winner of each category.
Okay.
So, Simon, Player of the Year. Name your 3 nominations.
My 3. So my 3 players all play for the same team. And unsurprisingly, that team is Liverpool. I've gone for the big man at the back, VVD. I've gone for the other man at the back, TAA. And I've gone for Henderson.
What about you, Jake?
So I've got only one Liverpool player, which is probably controversial given that they've won the league. But so I've got Mane, that's my one Liverpool. Got Kevin De Bruyne, because he's just class. And then Henderson, the Sheffield keeper.
For a second, I thought Jake was going to go for Jordan Henderson then.
Not a chance, mate. Never.
Hey. So mine, I've gone for, all of them have been said. So I've gone KDB, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Jordan Henderson are my 3. So we're going to start with the Hendersons. We'll start with Dean, I reckon.
Yeah.
ASY in the top 3 players of the entire season.
Personally, I think keepers get overlooked quite a lot, especially when it comes to player of the season. So I think you should bear that in mind when you pick him. Okay, but if you look at his season so far, I think he's been one of the crucial pieces for Sheffield. And obviously they've got 11 clean sheets, and he's only conceded 26 goals. And then his save percentage, so he saved just under 76% of his shots against are saved, which I don't know where that ranks in terms of the rest of the keepers, but that's a pretty decent percentage in my opinion.
That is some good stats.
Yeah. So that was why I've gone for him personally.
Yeah, that is strong. He has definitely been a stand-up performer.
Yeah.
I think.
And like his saves aren't just like daisy pickers where he just picks it up. It's like he saves some screamers.
I think it's fair. I don't think he'd be in the top 3.
Keeper though.
It could be because he's a keeper, but if you look at that Sheffield United team, there's so many. They're all like a cog, really. There's no stand-up performers, but then he has been. So I think for influencing a team that, especially if they get in the top 5 or 6, if they manage it, then he's had a huge influence on big team. Because then if you look throughout the rest of the team, obviously like Fleck's been impressive, centre backs, McBurney up front top, even Muse.
What about Jordan Henderson?
Yeah, I think if we move straight to Jordan Henderson, so Simon, you go first, and then I'll
just for the record, I'm not having this. This is not the winner.
This is. So the thing is, for starters, he is second favourite in the odds to get it. Yeah.
What, in the official ones?
He's KDB is favourite, and Jordan Henderson second, and it's tight. It's like I think KDB's evens. Jordan Henderson's 5-4.
See, I don't understand it because good season last season, but is it just because he's captain?
I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I think it's part of it. Yeah, because I don't think he's top of the league in terms of technical ability.
So we shouldn't be having this discussion then, should we?
But in terms of work rate, in terms of leadership,
work rate. We're talking about work rate.
We are, yeah. So I did for my nominees, I did look at some stats, and then I crossed out the fact that those stats because it completely contradicted my Jordan Henderson pick. Because he was in like the 14-15 mark for like
reinforce
passes,
my opinion,
interceptions, assists.
He was what, sorry?
He was in like 14th ranking mark for like passes, interceptions. Liverpool were like, obviously they've got some world-class players, but they are such a team as well. So I think it's like, I know you've put Mane. I think there's not really been a standout Liverpool performer.
I think Mane's been. Well, we'll come on to Mane.
Yeah, like years, like obviously when Salah broke the goal scoring record, things like that. It's like, or even like last year, VVD was so obviously the best player at Liverpool. And we'll get onto him because Simon's picked him. But yeah, I think for Henderson, I don't want to keep saying work rate, but it's the work rate.
I can find players that have better. If this was player with the best work rate, I could find better than him as well. I'm not having this.
I do think if you look at Liverpool playing without him, there is a difference.
Yeah.
It is noticeable. You might not be able to measure it as such.
You got a stat there.
No, it's something you can't quantify.
There was a period of games, I think it was just before lockdown, where he wasn't playing, and they did the game. He didn't play in the game against Watford, I believe, and if he did, I'm cutting that bit out. But he didn't play in the game against Watford, and they did have a period of games where something was missing, and the only person who was out was him. So
he is not the answer. He's not the reason for Liverpool's success.
A little part of me did put Henderson in purely for Jake's reaction.
Yeah.
So we'll go through the rest of the Liverpool players. We all had Trent?
Trent, yeah.
Right?
I didn't.
You didn't have Trent. So me and Simon had Trent. Obviously, I'd say who has been a standout performer. I feel like both fullbacks for Liverpool in the last 2 seasons, but this season, definitely, where there's not been like a standout like Salah or anything. I feel like Trent has really stepped up. Obviously, he's young enough to be in Young Player of the Year as well. He's got 12 assists and 3 goals from right back. He scored some quite important goals. I remember Liverpool had a big game before lockdown against Leicester that he scored the goal, I think, to pull the lead to 2 when it was kind of like Leicester were pushing. Scored the free kick last week. He's an all-round good player, but I think he's had a real big season.
I think when you consider his age as well, what was he, 20?
22, I think it is.
22,
21.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But
but
still,
still, yeah,
you
yeah.
think of like the range of his passing and just
yeah. And
what he's been doing from that position.
He's basically like Trippier, isn't he? He's the new Trippier.
Yeah.
David
Poor man's
Beckham,
Trippier.
fullback. Yeah.
he is, yeah. The David Beckham of fullbacks. Well, I mean, I try not to be too favourable to Liverpool because I know there are certain people we know that would love that. So I'm going to try and ease that. But someone said earlier in the season that with Trent, it's like having De Bruyne at right back. And the way he whips in those crosses from the half space, it is a little bit like he can do. His right foot is
He can
almost
do
the same as
what
De Bruyne.
Kevin does, but before we jump ahead to Kevin, Kevin does it better.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
It's close though, and considering the age difference and one's a right back currently. So with that, do you think he will stay right back, or do you think he'll evolve?
It's not something you see.
Gareth Bale evolution kind of thing.
Yeah, but that was to like a forward winger, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd see.
You mean like a Philip Lahm kind of thing?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Potentially, like I could, but then I almost think like, especially the system Liverpool have got, there's no point. Like they are so well designed for fullbacks to be almost their key attacking threats at times.
Well, they are, yeah. That's how they have made so many of their goals. So many.
So I think personally, as long as it stays the same, I can't see him being anything other than a fullback, but he'll probably be one of the best in the world for a long time. I think so.
If he continues, I think so. He's definitely the best England's had. Well, he's got to perform for England first. So.
We've got some strong right backs, but he really is.
I'd say he's
the best.
Trippier though, isn't there? Yeah.
If you compare him as a right back to anyone else in the league, there's just no competition.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone in that position.
What was Leicester's Pereira? He was doing well. Not in the same way as Trent, but he was still performing well as a fullback.
Yeah.
And probably more defensive minded.
I'd argue he's better
defensively.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. But then I think if you were to pick out of any fullback even left back, I'd probably pick Trent first. So I agree with that pick.
Yeah.
Like Henderson. Yeah.
Okay, so there was another Liverpool, I believe, VVD.
Yeah. I mean, what more can you say? He's just so consistent and just so dependable. And what Liverpool have lost, was it 1 game this season? Oh, it'd be 2 games now. Following that.
2 now, yeah.
That pasting the other day.
You love to see it.
Yeah, you do love to see it.
You do.
Yeah, he's just a giant amongst men.
It is like that though sometimes, isn't it? Like it's like he's like 2 years above them at school playing in the playground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Yeah.
He's bullying them.
He really does. It's how he almost looks like he doesn't break a sweat.
Yeah.
He makes it.
Because he's got the pace as well. Like
but he doesn't even look like he's running fast. He's jogging, but he's going faster. It's like, how are you doing that? Yeah, he's good. And then I remember I went to see Liverpool versus Bournemouth at the Vitality. I think it was when Salah got a hat-trick. And I was watching them do their warm-ups before the match. And Salah and Mane were like in the pre-match warm-ups, their shots were awful. And then VVD just comes across from their little defensive warm-up, smashes 2 top bins, and they're like, he can literally do everything. He is quality. But the reason why he's not in my top 3 is probably because you expect it of him.
Yeah,
he set that
he set that bar
level
almost
bar.
where like a
Where,
Ronaldo, Messi, like
yeah, or
they're
Kevin.
that good that
With VVD, like he's good, as we said, but because he set this expectation, I don't know. Like with someone like Kevin, you've got the expectation with him, but he always exceeds it, in my opinion. Whereas VVD, maybe it's because it's a defensive thing and it's harder to, I don't know. You have to go up against players that are like Ronaldo and that, which obviously aren't in the Prem, more frequently to show what you're capable of. But for me, like it's just like it's staled a bit. It's like, yeah, he's good, but
yeah.
have you? Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one.
I see what you mean. Like obviously he won it last year, even though they didn't win the league, but he was by far the best. Like you could say he was the best player in the league last season.
But he was the reason Liverpool.
But he stayed at that level. Whereas and he's not been the standout performer because Liverpool as a whole have been so good. Yeah. Okay. So I think final Liverpool player we've got Mane.
Mane, yes. So for Mane, I wasn't sure on this one particularly, but I felt like I had to give a Liverpool player. And obviously we spoken about VVD. I think he's a good shout, but I think he's not the reason why they've done so well this season. I think I could be wrong in saying this, but I think Mane's got a lot of their crucial goals, or been like the injection that they've needed to like go over the line, like get their 1-0 win. Because I think they went for a phase, didn't they, where they were just scraping by. I think with 15 goals, 7 assists.
It's only sort of carried them through those periods where they've not struggled, but they haven't been at their complete best.
Yeah, and it might have been last season where like it was all Salah.
Yeah.
But this season, Salah's gone off the boil. Well, had gone off the boil, and Mane was the one pulling them through. And I think for me, if he hadn't done that, they wouldn't be where they are now.
Yeah, I think in their strike force, I think Mane's definitely been the main man, if there has been one for Liverpool. Although I think Salah has had a bit of a hard rap again because he had that one incredible season. Early in the season, he was said he was off the boil, but he was still like 4th or 5th in the.
Yeah, but then you look at like obviously his scoring stats and assists are similar to Mane's, but he's been in the positions where he was the season before and missed it by a mile. He's not been on this like at that level he was where you'd expect him to score, whereas Mane's just been in those same types of positions but scoring them, and I think that's why I picked Mane over Salah.
So, final one, me and Jake went for was KDB. So I think by far he's been the best player in the Premier League this season on a technical level. Like we were saying earlier, he's better than Alexander-Arnold at what Alexander-Arnold can do in an attacking sense. He's 17 assists and we've still got 6 games to go. The record's 20, so he's almost
going to beat that.
Granted, when Henry got the record, he did also score 20 goals. I think he got 25 goals and 20. Kev's got 11 goals, but 17 assists, 11 goals is just unreal. He's been City's standout performer consistently throughout the season. What's your thoughts, Jake?
Like you say, like the 11 goals, 17 assists is massive. And then also I was looking at his stats, 27 big chances created, and I don't think they're included in the assists. So that could be a lot higher, that tally, I think. But then I think with how Pep plays him, he can play him literally, he'll be in the middle of the park playing in midfield, then he'll come up to full-back. He played into the 10 against Liverpool and tore them apart. I think he is the best in the Prem, without doubt. I don't think you can argue it, Simon, sorry.
No, he's definitely the best, like, in terms of, like, complete player.
So, Simon, who was your number one? Who were you going for as number one?
Probably going to go Trent.
Trent, okay. Yeah, so I had Trent at number 2. Kev's better. Kev's been much better.
Yeah, I agree.
So, can you... to be honest, I actually can't believe you've not put him in your top 3, Simon.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
what is the reason behind it? Like,
it was just because Liverpool won the league.
Or did you just not watch City play?
I can't remember really. I just picked some
Good insight.
Um, I don't know. I can't remember. I remember him being very good last season. But no, I think just other players have taken the headlines. Maybe I'm not a very good pundit.
Oh,
So in short, you don't know.
so sure. I think you're losing this 2-1.
Yeah,
I think
because
player of the
Kev was
season.
my number one, right, without a doubt.
Yeah, Kev was, to be honest, was far and away, and then like I wrote him down instantly, and then the other two had to think about. So I think that's settled. Kevin De Bruyne is the win-lose-draw player of the season. His award will be in the post.
If you're like, what is this? It's like a printed off certificate.
If he's got a PO
Done in
box,
Word
it's
art.
tempting. Right. So young player of the year. I'm gonna just rattle mine off now. Obviously, so I've gone for Trent. He's been in discussion for the main one. I think he's probably been one of the best young players, probably most influential of the players we've gone for under 23. So the other two I've gone for Tammy Abraham, who had an incredible first half of the season, tailed off a little, but I still think he's had a big impact for a top 6 side at a young age. Yeah. And then my final one, I've gone Harvey Barnes.
Ooh, good
So,
pick.
and I'll get onto that after we go through yours. So, Jake, what about you?
So I've gone for Trent as well.
Yep.
I went for Wan-Bissaka. I wasn't sure on. I had two which I knew. Wan-Bissaka was like an afterthought, so I can understand why you might disagree. And then finally I had Phil Foden.
That's a good shout. I was tempted with Foden myself. How about you, Simon?
I've gone for Trent as well, and also Tammy Abraham. And then I've gone a bit kind of, it's not out there, but I think maybe a bit unexpected. Alan San-Maximin.
How old is he?
He's 23, so I'm not sure.
So he's
He's
just
on the
the
edge. He's on the edge. Yeah.
criteria, yeah.
But he's kind of burst onto the scene, and it's just exciting to watch.
Yeah.
And he's brought a new kind of like injection of just excitement into Newcastle.
A bit
in
a Steve Bruce side,
which
is quite Steve Bruce excitement. It's not two things you expect to see.
For this one, I had to have a quick look at the odds checker, like who's the favourites. And one of the favourites, which none of us have chosen, was Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Personally, as good a season as he had, I agree with Simon. I think Saint-Maximin adds a bit more.
If I was to pick between the two, I probably would say Grealish.
It's close. It's closer than I thought it would be when he joined Newcastle.
I think Newcastle don't depend on Saint-Maximin.
Yeah, true.
Whereas Villa are so dependent
Grealish.
on. Like if you've seen any of Villa's matches, the amount of times that their tactic is what Chelsea had last season, where they just give it to Hazard, but Grealish is their Hazard, and to be fair, it's worked.
He brings the excitement and the energy to the game in a way I haven't seen since another exciting player I can't remember.
I agree.
To be honest, like
I'd argue
I think he's better. Like, I would say like an Adel Taarabt, like when he was at QPR.
Yeah.
Someone who's like when he gets the ball. This is slightly disagreeing with that I saw from his view.
Yeah, Taarabt just a show pony though.
Yeah,
he was decent in a different way. No, for me, Saint-Maximin is a poor man's Traore.
See, I was going to say he was a B-Tech Pepe.
Well, Pepe's B-Tech anyway, so.
We are talking about young
MVQ.
player here.
Yeah. MVQ Pepe. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but I think there's young players, like you said, Grealish, they, especially for being such a young player, the team relies on Grealish. So in hindsight, I probably would have picked Grealish, thinking about it now.
And you can still change.
Yeah, I'd happily change that from
Yeah.
one per second is out and Grealish
Grealish
is in.
then. Okay, cool. Okay.
Because
So yeah,
the whole team rely on him so much. For a young player, I think that's a big ask, and he's doing it well. So,
do you want to expand on Grealish any more? I think we've covered a lot of it.
well, I don't know any of his stats or anything, but like from just watching him, he's the playmaker. He's the goal maker, creator. He's just good, isn't he? I haven't really got anything to expand on that.
Yeah, I'm just going to get his stats up now while we're talking. So he's
Alive to the stats. And what the stats
Up
saying,
to
Robbie?
Robbie.
Into Stats Corner, 7 goals,
Respectable.
6 assists. That
Is
is
that it? What about big chances created?
only
You've got that.
6. So yeah, 6 assists, 7 goals. Which, looking at the stats I
Yeah.
had for
So
Harvey
it's-
Barnes, I had 6 goals, 6 assists for Harvey Barnes. So yeah, Grealish
Similar
is
category.
similar category.
But then if you like, I think it is because he's at a small team and he's pushing them forward. Like if you look at his pass completions, 85%,
Yeah.
and over doing some quick maths here, over half. He's got 334 passes are forward and 252 are backwards, and I think that shows you that he's driving them forward. And then obviously he's the most fouled player as well. So I think he's the catalyst of that team.
Okay, so I think 2 of us had Tammy Abraham. So yeah, Simon, what was your thoughts on Tammy Abraham?
I thought he had an excellent start to the season. Just banging the goals. And yeah, just causing a nuisance to defenders, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think he had first half of the season, he had some really strong goal scoring. I think he was top goal scorer probably 10 games in.
Early on, he was doing very well.
Early days, yeah. I think he made the step up from, obviously he had a good season with Aston Villa last season, helped get him promoted. I think he's made the step up to the Premier League really well. I think if we didn't really have a rising star kind of category, but I think he'd be one of the ones in there.
He was on loan at Swansea, wasn't he?
He was on loan at Swansea 2 years ago, Villa last season, I believe. So he's had a couple of years in the Championship, and he's come in, obviously, Lampard, without having much options because of the transfer ban, played some youth, and him. Another one that I was tempted with was Mason Mount.
I was tempted with him.
I think Tammy's edged it in influence for Chelsea.
Yeah. I didn't think of Tammy, but I think the argument would probably be that he's tapered off now. I think obviously, you could argue at the start of the season Chelsea were relying on him quite a lot.
Yeah. I think if the season was voided when COVID started, he'd probably be well up there. But as he's kind of
definitely
tapered off, hasn't really. Has he scored yet since lockdown? I don't think he has.
Has he? No, he hasn't, because Giroud started, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he's only coming back into the team a bit now.
Next one I had, or we briefly mentioned him earlier, was Harvey Barnes. So I was looking. One I thought of was James Maddison.
Yeah. How old is he though?
He's young enough. He's 22. He's obviously he's young, English. He has had a good season, along with obviously first half of the season Leicester have tailed off quite a bit. But I was looking, he's only got either 3 goals, 6 assists, or 6 goals, 3 assists.
What did they say?
Is this for Harvey Barnes?
No, this is James Madison.
Oh, Madison.
Harvey Barnes has got 6 and 6.
Mm.
And I
6 and 8. 6 and 8.
6 and 8. Oh, did he get 2 today? 2 assists today then?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, so that's fresh off the press. He's got 2 more assists to bag. So that's what I mean. Is he was really good at West Brom last season when he was on loan. I think they recalled him in January.
Yeah, I think West Brom are a bit gutted about that.
Yeah, I think that basically stopped him getting promoted last season. But yeah, I think he's another one to watch that doesn't really. He's quite an underrated player in the league.
Yeah, he's
especially in their team.
He's definitely under the radar, isn't he, at the moment?
Yeah.
Well, probably not so much now, but
no. But then when you look at that Leicester team, you think the standout names are probably obviously Vardy, Maddison, Tillmans, Chilwell. I think him and Demarai Gray you don't really think of, but they're both very good players. I think he edges it, and I know he's a little bit younger than Gray. So yeah, I definitely thought he's worth a shout. I don't think he'd be the young player of the year, but I think he's definitely worth in with a shout.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good call. Wouldn't be the pick at the end of it, number one, I don't think, but he's definitely up there. I had Phil Foden.
Foden, yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't got any stats on him or anything like that, but every time I've seen him play,
yeah,
he's so like positive. He makes those penetrative passes forward, and I'd assume that his statistics are actually pretty decent for the amount of games he's played.
Him. He's one of the younger ones in this as well. He's only 20. I looked at his stats, and they were lower than I expected. But I think with him, it's a bit recency bias off the back of that Liverpool game where he was class, basically. Was it 1 goal, 1 assist? He's scored 3 goals since he's back from lockdown.
Yeah, but for me, he's more of a creator, and obviously, like,
he's hardly played.
He's labelled the Stockport's Iniesta, isn't he?
Stockport Iniesta,
which is a very big.
It's a big call.
I think
the bigger claim is Guardiola has basically said we don't need to replace David Silva because we've got Phil Foden.
A lot of pressure.
Like David Silva has arguably been one of the greatest ever Premier League number 10 wingers. Wherever he plays in that kind of attacking third, he's been one of the best in the last 2 decades. There's not been many better than David Silva, and Guardiola thinks Foden can better that. So I think with Foden, it'll be interesting to see. Maybe next year it's one that he might even push on more if he gets more game time.
Yeah. So I've just got some basic stats here, but he's appeared 17 times. I'd assume quite a few of those are as sub appearances.
Yeah,
15
definitely.
of which were wins. So he's only been in 1 loss, 1 draw, 15 wins, and then he's created 4 goals off of that. So I'd say that's not bad, considering the minutes played probably isn't massive.
No. It'd be interesting to see.
And I think he's someone to
played.
see next season, yeah.
And again, I think like next season, especially if he plays more, I know there's a lot of competition for him.
So when I said 17 appearances, 12 of those are off the bench.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. He's had full games. And I imagine even the games he started, he's probably not played the lot.
Yeah.
Very rarely. And obviously, City have scored 81 goals this season. But then some of the goals, like his goal against Liverpool with the 1-2, where I know Robertson pushed up to him. But as a 20-year-old, he's not even like fought twice, and he's got rid of.
Is that where he lays it off?
Lays it off, does the little spin round. And then the finish as well. That's past Alisson, who obviously didn't have the best of games, but we'll get on to him, he's still one of the best goalkeepers in the league. And even for the assist for Sterling's, like it's not an easy pass, but he did make it look quite easy. But I think with Foden, it is a little bit recency bias where it was the last.
Because in that game, he looked like a young Kevin, like Kevin De Bruyne's young, but he looked like a mini version of him, just playing alongside Kevin. It's like, this is disgusting to see. So, yeah.
Okay, I think that's everyone covered apart from obviously Trent, who we've touched on a lot. So, obviously, we discussed him in the player of the season. He's old. He's young enough to qualify for the next 2 years for as in this season and next season for player of the season, young player. There's not much more we need to say. Who does everyone have as a number 1? What are we saying? I'm thinking Trent. It has to be.
I went for Trent. Yeah.
Yeah, after our discussion earlier, I think I'd put Trent as my first.
I think it's got to be. I think that'll be fair. It'll be realistically Kevin number 1, Trent young player.
Yeah, because with Trent, obviously we've mentioned it earlier, but like he's got 12 assists,
12 assists, 3 goals,
and then 11 clean sheets, and he's part of the best defence in the league. So I think
third most touches as well in the league. So Van Dijk's got the first, and it was a Leicester centre back that was second. But I think obviously shows like a possession-based team. Yeah. But even so, like he's clearly having a big influence on games. Okay, so on to goalkeepers.
I did a
No.
last-minute change to this one.
This is
You-
no-brainer.
Last
'Cause I-
no-brainer. Okay,
Yeah.
this is.
Got two
I
mixed
feel
up.
like seeing as Deus put Dean Henderson in his player of the season, he must be
Yeah.
top. So Deus.
Dean Henderson is my number one go-to. Then the next two are, I would say, a joint in in my terms. I'd say Rambo for Bournemouth has been he's been the standout player of a struggling team, and I think without him they'd be below Norwich and
Yeah,
in an even worse position. And then obviously I think Dubravka, is that how I say his name?
yeah.
For Newcastle.
Martin Dubravka. Yeah,
They consider him, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
consider
think
him.
he is a very good keeper, and this season's
Yeah.
been showing that quite well.
he makes a lot of saves. I want to say he's got the most
he's
saves in the
top,
league.
He's top. What about you guys?
So, I went for Alisson as number one. Obviously in the title-winning team, second most clean sheets. He, along with Van Dijk, he does bring a calming presence to a Liverpool side that never used to be very calm. And I
Especially
think,
in recent years.
yeah, and I think his shot stopping is a lot better than I thought it was originally. I think when he first joined, I thought, yeah, he's good with his feet. He's like solid. But there's been a lot of games where he's kind of like, he's not made big saves, but he's like almost like shut out the striker before they've even had a chance.
Yeah.
I think you can see with quite a few kind of closer games for Liverpool, that's where that kind of goalkeeping makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they've been blowing people away 4-0 every week, but when they've had those tighter games, that's when
You see,
the goalkeeper really matters.
You say that, but the reason I didn't pick him is because obviously he went for that. I think he was injured for a spell.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they've
of
had
course.
Adrian did play
Adrian
early
has
days,
come in,
which is
and I feel like Adrian actually outshone a lot of the performances I've seen of Alisson. I can't remember that because that was the time where they were struggling to get the goals.
Yeah.
Adrian would make some massive saves. Like, I think he made a big double save at one point.
Yeah, I do remember that, I think.
So for me, I was like, I don't think Alisson is. I feel like his stats are padded from this defence in front of him in terms of clean sheets and goals conceded. Yeah, I can see where you come from with the shots saved, but I think there are better out there.
Yeah, I agree with. I do think obviously having the defence he has in front of him is always going to help with the stats. He's going to have a lot of clean sheets because he's got the best defender in the world in PVD in front of him. But yeah, I do think he's brought a calming presence. So another one I've got was, which I'm surprised Deus didn't have, if I'm honest, was Nick Pope.
Oh, he's good, he is.
Yeah.
Burnley
None of them I
got
can
most
see.
clean sheets, haven't they, this
So
season?
he's got the most clean sheets of 14. He's also 6th in the most saves this season, whereas Henderson was 10th.
Really?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Burnley, obviously a lot of clean sheets. I think to have the most clean sheets and be that high in the saves, it almost brings it down to, like you said with Rambo and Ramsdale, he's stopping a lot of these clean sheets himself.
Yeah.
Obviously, Burnley are a solid team, and Bournemouth are, you might as well say, a liquid team at this point.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that one. I do like Nick Pope a lot.
Yeah.
But I think I have a bias towards him. Like, I'll pick him every season for FPL and that kind of thing. So I tried to not be biased on that.
Yeah, no, I rate him, and I think obviously with Dean Henderson as well, like they're almost like so they're probably comfortably, I'd say, better than Pickford now. I think that England spot is they've both blown it out the water. Really.
Henderson or Pope, I think. You've got to
It's
be
Henderson or Pope with Pickford third, which
Who would you pick?
I'd go Pope for the Euros, and then likely Henderson for the World Cup.
See, I think you've got to think about the way England will want to play.
Yeah.
I feel like Pope is a shot stopper and all that, but when it comes to like playing out from the back, you're probably going to want someone like Henderson.
Like Henderson, yeah. Yeah, it is a tough one. I think England number one is always tough, but it's going to be interesting what happens to Pickford because, like we said with Joe Hart, he's kind of crumbled his career.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think Pickford will do that. I think he's probably going to be Everton number one for a long time. But it's how he deals with being England number 3 probably after the World Cup.
Yeah.
But
I did like
strong
Pickford during the World
goalkeepers.
Cup. But
Yeah, Pickford. I think Pickford's
No,
a bit. He's a bit of a leader, but almost in a like fired
kind
up
of-
Joe Hart kind of way. He's
Yeah,
a
that was
similar
never
character.
good. That was never a good thing for Joe Hart when he got too
too
kind of-
passionate.
Yeah, it's just there's a level, and then there's like overdoing it
Mm.
to the point that you're making mistakes. You're just losing your head.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that was evident in the derby, wasn't? Was that this season where he basically gave them the goal?
I want to say
Right.
that was last season when it hit the crossbar twice and Origi
Yeah,
tapped it.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Was
want to
that
say
last
that was
season?
last season. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I
But
think
then
since
Dean
then it's just-
Henderson had obviously he's not made many mistakes this season, but he did against Liverpool, kind of Rob Greened it basically. But keepers are going to make mistakes. I think every keeper is.
and they're highlighted more, aren't they?
Yeah, like when a striker makes a mistake, they just miss a shot, pretty much.
Yeah,
When a keeper makes a mistake, they
Unless it's
can
an
go
absolute play, and then it's replayed over the
over
years.
and over. Yeah,
gifts and
Exactly.
gaps, whatever it is.
Yeah, bloopers.
And then the final one I had was Dean Henderson. So I do agree with Henderson has been a standout goalkeeper this year. One that I'll hold on and say what I might have gone in case Simon's got him. So Simon, what were your three?
I went Alisson, Henderson. I also went Patricio.
So that was exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
'Cause I nearly went Rui Patricio.
he's
just-
he's very good.
Yeah, he's part of that Wolves team, which they just play some really good football, and it's just it's just a good goalkeeper.
He's a
kind of all
solid
round.
experienced goalkeeper that this George Mendes FC where this agent has just got loads of Portuguese players and they're all really good. Like how
Yeah,
at first when they got Moutinho, they got Rui Patricio, but it's working. They're probably like last season they got Europe and it was like when Burnley got it, it's like they're going to struggle with the schedules, but they're in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. They're pushing for Champions League. They've just gone on strength to strength. But yeah, with Patricio, one thing I saw was his saves. I think he was ranked like 14th or 15th. So I think
Yeah,
he
he's
does
got
go to say,
83. Yeah,
yeah. So his I think the defence has helped him a lot. Which, like we're saying with Alisson, obviously you still need to be a good goalkeeper, and when he's been called upon. But yeah, I do think with him, it's Wolves are so good defensively that he's kind of not had as much to do as say a Henderson or a Pope.
yeah. So my argument against Rui Patricio is that I think he's very good, but if he were to be in a big team, say like he's at Liverpool, if you look at his like passing statistics, he's not the best. Whereas you look at Alisson, he's extremely good with his feet. I think Henderson is pretty decent with his feet. Yeah, so I can see why you pick him, but I don't think he'd be my.
no, he's not
Because
number
obviously
one.
now you're looking for a more all-rounded keeper
Yeah.
than just a shot
Yeah.
stopper.
Yeah. So speaking of that, we've got two goalkeepers that has got assists this season.
Rambo.
So we've got Aaron Ramsdale's got one assist against Southampton, and Alisson has got the other assist. Can't remember who it was against.
That was a good goal as well.
Was it
yeah.
Arsenal? I remember he
stat.
set up Salah.
Mhm. I can't remember who it was against.
No. But yeah, so I think that's another point for Ramsdale and a point for Alisson if we're going for all rounds. Yeah, so I think we've kind of touched on Ramsdale, but I think for going in, obviously watching a lot of Bournemouth games, he has been the reason that we're not bottom of the league.
And also,
Probably
how old is he again? He's pretty young as well.
He's young. I want to say
considering-
he's 21.
Yeah, thanks for it.
He's about 21.
He's second
issue
in the
is
saves, third in the saves.
Yeah,
Got-
he's top 5 definitely. But I think it would be hard to give someone goalkeeper of the season when they've
yeah,
Had to get
conceded
relegated.
as many.
56
That's the
goals,
thing
yeah.
is with just the Man United game today, he's conceded 5, but he was probably one of our better players.
Yeah, to be
Yeah.
fair, most of those goals are just smashed straight past
Yeah.
him. There's not a lot you could do,
yeah.
especially that Marshall one.
The Marshall one, Greenwood second. He got a hand to Greenwood's first, but there was a lot of power on it.
Yeah,
Positioning for the Fernandes' free kick could have been a little better, but
It's offside though, but whatever.
yeah, exactly. So I think he's obviously, I rate him as a keeper. I think he's been arguably one of the best.
Do you think he's future England?
It's
He could be up
tight.
there.
I start the season, I would have said yeah, and I still think he could be. And I think if we go down, someone will snap him up. Like say, I know we bought him from Sheffield United, so whether
Well, if Henderson goes back,
then, to Man United, I could see that happening. Ben Foster's getting quite old. I think maybe Watford, if they stay up, they'd like him. I think a team like that. But then even he could be a top half goalkeeper. He's better than McCarthy for Southampton. Obviously, I don't want him to go to Southampton, but there's a lot of teams that he would do. He is better than their keeper, definitely. If he can push on from there, I think that's the key.
Yeah, I think he needs to work. Like obviously, I said earlier about the passing side of the game. He needs to work on that. But I think because he's so young, he'll easily improve on that.
Yeah, he's got time for that, definitely. So
no,
Dubravka.
Dubravka, he's got the most saves, a pretty decent save percentage, so 73.46% apparently, which is
that is strong in a Newcastle team. That obviously they've been like Brucey's got them quite solid now.
But previously
they've not been all season. And Dubravka's he's always one for fantasy football, that he's always going to be a high point scorer because he makes a lot of saves because Newcastle
leak.
So, and I think for the last couple of years he's been a very solid FPL pick, and again top saves for the season. I think it's a good shout. But for number one, I feel like this is going to be. I don't think we're going to agree on this at all.
No, I haven't put him in my top three, but I think it is probably fair to say Alisson because I just looking at his stats now to try and see your point, and so most of the keepers have played 30 to 32 games now. He's played 23. From that, obviously with Liverpool's defence, it kind of helps him, but he's got 12 clean sheets, whereas the others are Dubravka's on 10, Rambo's only on 4, but Henderson's on 11, so I think it is quite tight.
So for me, it's out of Alisson and Pope. And Alisson's good with his feet.
Yeah.
And he's been part of the title-winning team, whereas Burnley haven't done their mid-table. They've good season on Burnley's part. Obviously, after they got into Europe, they struggled last season, just avoided relegation, got sorted there. This season, they've kind of steadied the ship. He's had a good season. Obviously, at Burnley, he's had some competition for his place. He's had Tom Heaton and Joe Hart.
Yeah.
And to keep the place and perform above those two, which again, Heaton, another one that's probably not in with a shout for England anymore because Pope made him not play at club level. But yeah, I think Alisson's probably should get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Goalkeeper of the season for win, lose, draw. It's Alisson.
Win, lose, draw.
Win, lose, draw. Yeah.
Win, lose, draw. Okay.
Win, lose, draw.
We are well-informed people on this podcast.
So that was the end of part 1 of this first Win, Lose, Draw podcast. We really underestimated how much we could talk about football for each category, so we only did 3, and our plan is to split this into 3 sections, and we'll have part 2 and 3 coming out in the coming weeks. If you enjoyed the podcast, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. There'll be more podcasts and other content on the channel in the near future. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.